still jamming.
I like that. I want to steal that for my intro.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Conjure Crew. Today's topic is going to be about black-eyed children. Let me see. I didn't even put it up here. I can't even see comments. Okay, there we go. Yeah.
Got it?
Yes. So, we're not sure if Shishi knows about the time change. So, and she's not here yet, so hopefully she will pop on. Tonya, have you been able to research the black-eyed children? Do you know anything about it, or?
You know what? I looked into it, and I mean, of course, the main story that keeps coming up is the one in Abilene, Texas, where the guy saw the kids, and I remember you were telling me that it went back to just 1980, but I saw some things where it was like they had sightings as far back as 1950. Now, the consensus is that a lot of this is just legend.
Right, urban myth. That's what I was getting to. But I do have a video that I'm going to share here in just a minute, and it has video. You know, people taking videos. But now you know as well as I do that
Oh, yeah. You can
videos.
Photoshop and edit anything nowadays. I mean, the amount of stuff that they have on social media, you know,
Yeah.
like you say, you can manipulate everything. What's up, Laverne? What's up, Jed?
Hey, how are you doing?
So, I mean, really, it kind of, it's interesting because, like you said, I saw some footage with videos where you could kind of tell that it was manipulated. And then
Yeah.
a few of them, it was kind of like, okay, is it real? But now you got black contacts that you can black out.
Right.
So
Girl, you can get those alien eyes. You can
you
get
can get anything. So, I mean,
eyes.
it's really interesting, you know, but I am one to keep an open mind. So I'm like, let's look into it. Let's figure it out.
All
There's a
right.
lot of urban legends out there that could be true.
Right. And and supposedly it started in Texas. So, you know.
Well, that depends on how much beer you drank that night
Right, right, right.
when you saw the black eyed kids. Um, oh, Laverne, you kind of ill. You know, I am too, babe. I've been feeling achy. I've been feeling
Exactly.
like, and I think it was the new moon energy and the weather change is kind of kicking our asses a little bit.
I noticed this past week I had very little patience, and it was more like my patience was being tested. It'd be one thing after another, and I'm not the only person, so it's not just me.
Well, so from what I hear, the new moon energy is causing people to cut cords. So maybe that's what you're being tested to see what you need to cut.
Girl, it was everything. But you
Uh,
want to go ahead, and we got about 25 people watching so far. So you want to go ahead and start the video and just, if
yeah, go ahead, bring it up.
I hope she comes. All right, so let's go ahead and we'll get started.
To her too.
The top 5 black-eyed children caught on camera. Out of all the creepy urban legends and supernatural tales from the internet, some of the most frightening and bizarre may be the stories of the so-called black-eyed children, or black-eyed kids. The black-eyed children are supposedly supernatural creatures that resemble children between the ages of 6 and 16 years old, with pale skin and coal black eyes. These creatures are often said to appear on lonely roads asking for a ride, or even at the front door of a home asking to be allowed inside. It is said that allowing a black-eyed child inside a car or a house results in a horrible curse being placed on the occupants. The urban legend is not specific on exactly what the black-eyed children might be. Explanations range from ghosts and evil spirits, all the way to possessed children and even demons. They are also said to inhabit solitary locations such as forests or uninhabited countryside roads. These are 5 videos of people who claim to have captured black-eyed children on video. These stories are presented as they were related by the original video posters, but as always, it's up to you to choose what you believe. Summoning black-eyed children. The creator of the channel Fantastic Daily says that he is obsessed with finding evidence that proves the existence of so-called black-eyed children. As such, he has studied hours of alleged footage of these beings. He says that he believes that he has found a sound isolated in lower audio frequencies that can actually be used to summon black-eyed children. As an experiment, he set up his laptop camera to record overnight while continuously playing this low-frequency tone in hopes that he would actually lure a black-eyed child to his door and catch the incident on camera. On the first night, his laptop camera recorded nothing. On the second night, something activated his motion-sensitive outdoor light. But again, there was nothing on camera. Night 3, nothing. Night 4, still nothing appeared. But then, very late on night 5, something shocking happened. Someone appears on the front porch, standing and staring inside the house for over an hour.
Look at that. That is crazy. How long was it out there? Man, this is like an hour. It was out there for like over an hour.
As the strange visitor left, the investigator claims that he was awoken by the sound of movement outside and got up to check.
Hello?
Be nice.
Now you know if that was a person of color.
Hello?
There was no one there, but the gate to the house had been left open. Eerily enough, the man lives in a secluded area, only accessible via a long unpaved road through the woods, so any visitor at any time would be uncommon. But he says that this visitor was absolutely terrifying. A creepy photobomb. Chinese-Canadian musician Milo LV posted a simple Instagram video of her and a friend hanging out by the pool.
Hey guys, it's super hot in Vancouver today, and me and Joanna are just waiting for our friend who is super late to come today. And if you guys see this video, take a look at how nice the drink, the cute girl, and how nice the pool is. You guys should come right now and join us, right? Right? Okay, you know what? Talk to you guys later, bye.
Now, I don't know what she was babbling about there, but after watching the video, her fans flooded her comment section claiming that they saw something creepy in the background of the video.
If you guys see this video, take a look at how nice.
Some claimed it was a black-eyed kid, watching them from the opposite side of the pool. Whatever it is, the figure mysteriously disappears by the time the camera pans back to where it was standing. As for Milo LV, she says, quote, "Once I saw it, I was terrified. When I think about it now, I still feel a little creeped out."
You know what? Talk to you guys later, bye.
Something in the road. For number 3, we again go back to the YouTube channel Fantastic Daily, whose creator, a self-proclaimed black-eyed kid investigator, had a strange recorded encounter on his front porch. This next footage took place a week after the first video. The investigator said that after being more than a little freaked out by his first recording, he had stopped playing the audio tone that he had used in hopes of attracting the black-eyed kids to his home. But it might have been a little too late. One night, as he was driving along the secluded trail that leads to his home, he thought he saw someone walk across the road in front of his car. So, he stopped the vehicle and started filming with his cell phone. Unfortunately, he didn't really catch anything on camera. At least that's what he thought. After returning to his home, he decided to check through the footage recorded on his phone. What he found chilled him to the core. Although it's hard to tell in the dark, it looks like someone walking along beside the road, hidden in the dark brush, and unnoticed as the man films.
I didn't see this when I was walking around out there. I mean, there's a noise that you can hear in the video coming from that direction, but I definitely didn't see anything.
His ass gonna come up missing. He gonna come up missing, I'm telling you.
So is this one of the black-eyed children? Is it just someone out for a bizarre night stroll in the dark woods? Or is it all just a hoax? Because of the sheer volume of material on black-eyed kids on the Fantastic Daily channel, some believe it to be a hoax. Personally, I would recommend that you check it out for yourself and see what you think. The link to the channel is in the video description. Trail cam kids. As I mentioned in the beginning of this video, black-eyed children are believed to inhabit unpopulated areas like lonesome roads and dense forests. So it's no surprise that many people have claimed to capture black-eyed kids on trail cams located deep in the woods. The cameras are set up to trigger and snap photos when there is any movement. They're usually used to track wildlife in remote wooded areas. In this particular shot posted online, the trail cam seems to have spotted 2 deer. But they were not alone. What looks to be a small girl in a white gown can be seen in the photo. Many believe this photo to be a black-eyed child captured on camera. This is not the only time that a trail camera has allegedly captured a black-eyed child roaming alone through the woods. Black-eyed children, UK. The black-eyed child phenomenon is not only relegated to North America. There have been multiple sightings in England as well. In Yorkshire, England, we find another account of a black-eyed child. A woman named Hannah Butler took a picture of what she believes to be a black-eyed girl in Hesselforshire Woods. Hannah snapped this picture back in 2013. But she claims that to this day, she still has terrible nightmares where she is haunted by the black-eyed girl in the picture. In the end, reports of the black-eyed children have been around since the early 90s and will probably continue for many years to come. So, do you believe in the mysterious black-eyed children? And if so, what do you believe they are? Ghosts, spirits, demons, or something else entirely? Or do you think that all of the reports are either hoaxes or simply the figment of overactive imaginations? Let me know what you think down in the comments. If you enjoyed this video,
Okay, so they all walking around in the woods in their pajamas. That seemed like a cult. It seemed like a cult somewhere in the woods. They all in their pajamas.
That one little boy had on like gym shorts.
Yeah, I mean, they're all walking around in some type of white nightgown. So are these experiments that they're doing on children? I mean, we know about the children under the tunnels. We know about the children that are being abducted. Are these experiments by the government on children? Or what is it?
But you know, they're talking about these were back like in the 90s and stuff. But that one little boy with the gym shorts, back in the 90s, they were wearing very short basketball shorts. They didn't have long basketball shorts back then. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. It's interesting. And the guy that was summoning, now here's my thing. Or Jed said they died in those clothes. That which is true. Back in the Middle Ages, they would bury you in a white gown. But these normally the first sightings of black-eyed children did not appear until 1980. But we have research now that's saying it goes back to 1950s. What gets me is that dumbass, you summoning something that you don't know how to banish, or you don't know what the hell you're going to do with it when it comes in there. So you got this thing standing outside your house for an hour just looking through all your windows while you're in there sleeping. What the fuck?
Well, he played that music, and that reminds me. Oh God, it's been 30 years ago. My dad actually was telling me this back like when AOL, he
Back
was
in the
saying
days.
there was like um, this tube, and they had drilled down to hell, and you could hear the sounds of hell. That's what that noise that he was playing to summon them sounded like to me. Have you ever heard that the sounds? You never heard that before? The
I mean,
sounds of hell.
I've seen some videos where people are like, this is what they imagine that hell sounds like, or the sounds of hell, or whatever. I ain't got nobody down there that I know of, so I'm really not interested in it, to be honest.
Right.
I'm,
Even if we do got people down there that we know of, we
yeah, you did what you did to end up there, or whatever. I'm gonna pray for you, but I don't really need to know what's going down there with the boogie oogie and with the hell. That's some fucked up shit, though. Where do you even get a sound that calls in demons and black-eyed children? Like, where did this guy even find this frequency?
we need to get Marcus on here. Marcus needs to be on here.
Oh, Lord. Have
He could answer. Well, he'd probably be playing some shit too. We don't want to summon him now.
These people kill me. And you know what I think it is? I think a lot of people that are having, that have the power to create um, demons or demonic entities or angelic entities, because it could be either one across the board. I mean, a demon and an angel are almost the same energy on just two different spectrums. So if you're summoning something, but you don't know what you're summoning, you don't know what to do with it when it comes to you. I mean, what the hell? What if that homegirl would have tried to get into the house or whatever? What are you gonna do? Offer a cup of tea? They don't even tell you what the fuck you're supposed to do with the black-eyed children.
Right. Well, they say I was watching other videos too, and there were some saying they'll knock on your door asking to use your phone.
Well, shit, my ring light will be like, hell to the fucking no. I ain't even opening the door. You need go on and move on to the next house.
But some back to
Use
some,
your phone for what?
I don't know, or they need a ride home, or they need to come in and go to the bathroom, but they're trying to get in your house. Now I don't know what happens when they get in your house or get in your car. Hey,
I think the operative word is if they have to ask for permission to get
yeah,
into your dwelling, you probably don't want to. That's
yeah,
why I don't even put like all these people in the yards that have all these welcome signs in their yard and on their door. I don't put none of that shit on in my yard or on my door. Nothing is welcomed in my dwelling. You're nothing. A lot of entities have to be invited into your dwelling, and all these people they go to Home Goods and all these home stores, and they got fucking welcome signs all over the front of their yard. Like, what the fuck are you welcoming? The
yeah.
fairies, the gnomes, the black-eyed children, the vampire. What the fuck are you welcoming?
That's what one of the videos said too. Is that you have to invite them in, so it's almost like a vampire. You would have to. They have to be invited in.
No, my broom is always upside down. I don't want nothing coming to this house that has not been invited. And a lot of times it's weird. And I told you this story before. When I was married, my ex-husband had a friend, and it was Palm Sunday. And being a Catholic, I would put the palms over the doorway because they were blessed and they were anointed. Never had an issue with this man coming through the front door until I put the palms on top of the door. He could not come through the front door. So he would come in through the garage, or he
Mhm.
would go into the backyard. And it took me a while to catch on to it. I was like, why is he not coming through the front door anymore? So I experimented and moved it to over in the garage, and he couldn't come through the garage. I don't know what the fuck he was. I don't know what attachment he had on him, but there were certain doorways that when they were anointed, he could not walk through the doorway. So do I believe that certain things have to be invited in or they have to have access? 100%.
Oh yeah, that's why people should be keeping up their protections too. That you
Wow.
already have your uh, doorways and windowsills and things like that, covered,
Oh
covered as
yeah.
covered with, the oil or the salt or whatever you use for your protection.
100%. And I mean, of course, the cameras out there, because I have had clients that have caught things on their cameras, especially the infrared cameras where
Uh-oh.
you can kind of you can see energy. So I've seen a lot of people that I've gone to their house and they're like, I have, a haunting. And I'm like, well, and then they show me the footage and I'm like, yeah, you did you captured something.
Mm-hmm.
But it is interesting because I think a lot of people are really quick to invite just anybody and anything into their home. And people have attachments. People have things that, maybe you don't want in your dwelling or your sacred spaces. Now, like I said, at least with the Black Eyed Children, from every account that I have read, you have to invite them.
Mm-hmm.
They don't, it's not like they break in or not like they try to push their way into your environment. You literally have to invite them in.
Yeah, but it is kind of almost like they want to be seen, but they don't want to be seen. Because
Well,
if you see the spirit walking in, sorry about that. I can't turn off my sound on the computer unless I turn off. Y'all won't be able to hear me. But what was I going to say? I'm having a moment.
well, you
Oh,
were saying that
they'll
they only.
walk in front of your car, and then when you get out to look for them, which I ain't getting out, I just keep on driving. I just wave, you know.
Girl, you come up on my ride, you gonna get ran over. If I don't understand what I mean, we're in Texas. We got we got roadkill all over the guy because we don't stop here. We don't
No,
pick shit up.
I've seen spirits, driving down the road at night. I've seen spirits standing on the side of the road. Sometimes they're people. Most of the time, though, you're right. They're animals, animal spirits, and
Hmm.
I don't stop and ask them, "Hey, are you okay? Do you need help fixing your tire?" No, you know, I just keep on going. But it's weird how that's like they want you to know they're there, but they don't want you to see them because if you with the man, which he's stupid anyway, because he done seen the thing on the standing out front of his house, and then he's gonna get out the car.
Oh, he gonna come up missing. Give it. We'll revisit this in a few years, and they'll be like they went to go check up on him, and his house was wide open, and he was nowhere to be seen. He's gonna disappear. We already know what's gonna happen with him. Either
Yeah,
the Black Eyed Children are gonna get him, or the government agency that's running that experiment in the woods is gonna get his ass. One of the two. I read that they appear to people who believe in them. And I think that happens with a lot of spirits and entities.
oh
If
yeah,
you believe in it, you can see it. Like somebody was saying, when are we going to talk about fairies? And we can do that next segment. Because
yeah.
I mean, there's a whole lot that goes into that. But I think for a lot of people, if you believe that you can see spirit, you will see spirit. If you believe that you can see
Well,
fairies,
I think it's more than just believing. I think it's not misbelieving because if you
true.
think about it, my, there are no kids on here, right? I hope not. Anyway, my kids believed in Santa Claus till he was 16 years old because I never told him there wasn't one. Because that's just, the spirit, I don't want to block off that magic to them. And so as long as their mind is open, they can
He
see
exists.
it and all this kind of stuff. But once they get older, as people get older, we're told, oh, that's not true, that's not true. And we block that stuff off. So I think that it's not that they necessarily believe in these spirits, but that they haven't been blocked off.
Well, that brings up a whole nother thing too, because I mean, how many people grow up in these cultures with these urban legends, and that is why they still believe in it because nobody has told them that it's not true or that it doesn't exist.
Right, exactly.
Interesting.
I think I just blew it for your daughter. Sorry.
Who,
Jazz,
Jazz?
Jazz, he's real. He's real.
Oh, no, no, no. They knew Mama and Daddy was Santa Claus from the time that they could open a gift. They knew where that was coming from. But I mean, I get it with the whole thing of wanting to believe in something. And I think honestly, that's faith for a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people. Like for this man sitting up there, that's his passion. That, waiting for this black eyed child to come to his house. became an obsession to him because he was excited about it. He wanted to believe in it, and he believed in it so much he wanted to see it, which takes you to that next level of wanting to explore it. That's why we have ghost hunters and things like that, because it's like, not only do I believe in this, but now I want to get closer to it so that I can see for myself, and then hopefully, catch footage of what else is going on. Let's see. Jed said, if you're open to someone has a gift, we spend so much of our adult lives untraining our conditioning that this can't be real.
Right.
That is true. I think the logical mind at some point kicks in, and then you have people and family that tell you, what you're seeing is not true. And you believe it because you have to fit into society, or else you might be in a little padded room.
Right.
Or medicated. We have so many. I had a lady I did an interview with last year, and she literally over medicated her son because her son was gifted. He was a medium, and he was seeing spirits, and she has that same gift. And instead of nurturing it and teaching him about it, she listened to other people that said, he's going to grow up like you. He's going to grow up confused and seeing all these crazy things, and you're going to end up getting him institutionalized. So she felt the only choice she had was to medicate her child, and she was apologizing. I think the guy was like 30 years old now. Let's see. What did Rob say? The black-eyed children, and speaking of believing, you can see in old parapsychology, there's word tupa. The power of human mind can bring things into existence. Loch Ness, Bigfoot, that's true. That is 100% true. There have been trips that I've taken out of the country where I have seen things in the woods that I would say are unexplainable to the logical me.
Mm-hmm.
Even in Haiti, when you go to Haiti and you go to voodoo fetes and you see somebody shooting at a person and they're not getting hit by the bullets, or you see somebody pour rum all over their body and set themselves on fire, and then as they dance, the fire goes out and there's no burn on these people. And your logical mind is saying there's no way that can happen. But in the spiritual sense, you're watching it. So even a lot of times with that, I have been really, I have been put in these places where it's like, man, that it takes a while for my mind to register that some of this stuff could actually be true and happening in real time. And it does in a lot of different cultures. But
go ahead.
Oh, but I was going to say, we live in a society that when you start thinking too much outside the box, you literally can be locked up.
Right. And that's over just anything. And I agree with Alyssa. I've seen fairies. Taylor used to have an imaginary, but we can talk about that on another show. But yeah, Taylor used to have an imaginary friend. They call it imaginary friend, but I saw it, and it was a little puck, which is a fairy, it's about the size of a gnome.
Mm-hmm.
And they used to play together all the time.
Wow. I think the whole thing about it, there are a lot of things out there that we have not experienced. And it's because, for a lot of us, it's opening your mind. And for some, it really is getting past the conditioning of what is acceptable in society. If you believe black-eyed children exist, a lot of the articles were saying that a lot of people that actually really believe in it have, researched it. They see them.
Right.
Now, is that a figment of their imagination because they want to see it so bad? Or is it because they've made a connection with those entities?
And they're open enough that they can. I'm kind of conflicted on it because of what I've read, and I've let other people affect my mind, you know what I mean? Because I've read stuff. But even like they were saying that they could be ancient aliens. That I don't know if don't look like aliens to me, but
yeah, but what does an alien look like? I mean, to be honest, we only have Hollywood standard to go by on what an alien so-called looks like.
Right. I mean, because they won't let us into Area 51.
Yeah.
We know something's there. But
well, we do know that aliens exist. We do know it has scientifically been proven that there are other life forms on other planets.
Well, and you've communicated with an alien,
I have communicated, and I will be honest and say that my logical mind was very skeptical during the whole reading, but because it connected on so many things that were true, I had to reevaluate the way that I saw it. Because I was like, there's no way I could be getting this information from something that does not exist. Now, we do have trickster spirits as diviners. We know that there are spirits out there that come in and they trick us, but I have to say that this was a very intelligent, very logical, and it connected with me in a way so that I could understand, which made it even more, because a lot of times spirit doesn't do that. Spirit kind of gives you the message you're channeling, and sometimes it's up for interpretation. But with that particular reading, the entity that I was communicating with was very clear and very logical. So it made me even think different.
Right.
Let's see, what is Jed saying? I think the ancient alien thing sometimes is used to explain away the supernatural. Then again, I've had a medium say aliens or something from different dimensions. Could be. I mean, we have a lot of, I mean, if you go back to Egypt with the pyramids, they're saying, how could these people build these blocks? Now, scientifically, they show you with a pebble, with a block of cement, and 100 men on this side, 100 men on that side, rocking it until it elevates into position. But who gave them the technology? Who told these men that a pebble under a block of cement, if you rocked it, you could build it up? Did they figure it out on themselves, or is the architecture something that's far more advanced? Because we look at some of the great pyramids and they're very advanced.
Well, and wouldn't even fairies and different things that we know we've seen, wouldn't that be considered aliens? Because even people from across the border are called aliens, because aliens is just an outsider.
Well, it's supposed to be something that is unidentifiable in the human, in our scope of what is considered a human or human race, or something that is outside of our culture. So, I mean, I don't know. I think the whole thing about it too, you have a lot of people that do believe in fairies. You have a lot of scientists that believe in fairies, but they may draw the line at black-eyed children.
Right. That's true.
I guess it really depends on the research, and, for a lot of people, for it to be accepted mainstream, it has to be logical or proven to be logical. So I don't know. It's interesting. I think Shishi may be coming on. I think maybe she got the messages. Time change may have threw her off.
Different fairies look like different things, and they're not all cute.
Yeah.
Some of them look like little demons. I don't know where my cards are.
Yeah, sometimes you'll see something that looks like it's flying with big teeth. I've seen something with like larger teeth that, I mean, it's like something I've never seen before.
I got some pictures.
Yeah, Jed, fairies do abduct people.
Some of them just look like light. Some of them look like half animal. Some of them just look like the Slender Man. And then you got the cute ones. And then you got these ones. So they look just like people. Not all people look the same. Some are short, some are tall, some are black, some are white. We're all different colors and shapes and sizes. And some people have big teeth, some people have no teeth.
Denisha, I saw something like that too, and I researched it, and because it was like a spider or something. It's weird because I had my wisdom teeth taken out, and I woke up and I saw this big black thing, and it looked like it came out of my head and it slithered off into the wall and disappeared. Now, I promise you, even though I was medicated, I got up because I don't like big ass First of all, I don't like big ass lizards or snake. And it was something that was black. And they call it it's these things that they go into the holes of your aura. Let me get the name. Let me look it up because it bugged me for 2 months because I was telling everybody I had this big ass bug come out of my brain and slide into the wall, and they thought I was because I was medicated. And spirit kept saying, no, you saw what you saw. Yes, it had legs and tentacles. It looks like a spider, but it is. Let me look it up. Let me
Like
look at.
you had to be the host or something like Star Trek.
They feed on your aura. They feed on holes in your aura. They're attachments that you pick up, and everybody has them. But they come. The only time you can see them is in between your wake and sleep. Like if you're waking up and you're groggy, you see a shadow of them. But I saw that thing as clear as day, and I think it was because I was medicated. I woke up, and when I turned my head, it literally was. It came down my head and down my shoulder, and it had legs. It looked like a big ass spider. And I remember getting up. So let
That's
me
crazy.
see.
Yes, I do have a favorite book, Jed. Let me see if I can find it. I just moved recently, so a lot of my stuff still may be in storage. I do not have it. I thought I did. But I really like, when it comes to fairies, Brian Froud. Brian Froud is also him and his wife did the Muppets and the Fraggle Rock, the movie, The Labyrinth. They created the creatures in the labyrinth. And what's that other one? The Labyrinth and the Dark Crystal. The Dark Crystal. So look up Brian and Wendy Froud, Froud. And that's who made these cards too, was Brian Froud. But he has a lot of books about fairies and things.
And that's a beautiful deck too.
I love this deck. I don't know where my book is. That kind of bothers me now. Girl, I need to clean the storage out.
It's probably in storage.
What do they call that when you're like a host? You know, like on Star Trek, they would have those things come in and slip into people. There was an episode of Legacies. Have you seen Legacies yet? Have you got to that?
No.
You got to watch that after you finish the originals. But Legacies, there was an episode where it looked like a slug, a black slug.
Can't believe I can't remember the name of these things. And I researched them. Let's see. But they chew holes in your aura. They're attachments. Let's see.
Kind of like paranormal scabies.
Kind of, but it actually looks like some type of spider, like she said, with legs or tentacles. And you catch it out the corner of your eye. And I've seen some people that have had drew pictures of it. And it was exactly what I saw, but it came out the top of my head. It was almost like I felt it moving in my head, and then it came down my body. Creeped me out. It creeped me out. Hey, babe.
I'm good. Sorry, my time hasn't changed yet in Germany. We didn't change our time. I think we have like a week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's what we figured.
I was like, what? I just finished a reading. I was like, I'm so sorry. Hi, guys.
Hey, no, we're glad that you're here.
I'm happy to be here too. So what did I miss?
Oh God, Lynna put on this creepy the Black Eyed Children video with some crazy guy that was summoning them with some type of frequency or whatever that he came across, and it was creepy. It was definitely creepy.
See, I brought popcorn for this. I was actually prepared. I was like, I got 13 minutes. Let me pop some popcorn. I was gonna bring my tea. I was ready.
No, you came in time. I mean, we don't jumped into some other things. But definitely, I mean, we talking about fairies, we're talking about these little energy spider things that eat your aura. They're like a parasite. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
Jed, it's a spiritual parasite. Thank you. They have a name for it, but they literally call it a spiritual parasite. It's an attachment. And it feeds off of your aura. It puts holes in your aura. And that's why when I read the article about it, I started my spiritual cleanses a little bit more, because a lot of people don't realize that they have these parasites, that they don't have these attachments. You do have some mediums that can see them really, really clear. Because I had a lady one time in Portland. She was a medical medium, and she was
Oh
like,
yeah, the lady that in the back corner.
yeah, I went to her and she was like, you have some spiritual parasites that are feeding off of you. So you need to start doing your cleanses. She said you're picking them up from people. And I was like, okay, I know it. I know exactly what you're talking about. I said, I seen it. She's like, don't be afraid of them, just cleanse. And I was like, okay. But I knew exactly what she was talking about. Thank you, Jed. Spiritual parasites. Now I can focus my Google search now.
Didn't she write something down on paper for you?
She went through and she scanned my whole body, and she was telling me, of course, I'm too fluffy, so I have to worry about my diabetes. She said if I didn't get better with my diet that I would have diabetes. She said something definitely about circulation. She hit on so many points that I was having problems with, like the pain on my left side, and my knee and my hip. So she literally just took her hand, and there's a lot of medical intuitives out there that literally pick up. Even as a massage therapist, I do it. I'm not as deep, but if you come to me for a massage and you tell me that the pain is in your neck, my hands always tell me where the pain is, and it's never where they say it is. It could be behind the knee, it may be on the foot, but literally what I do is I scan the body and I listen, and the part that is a problem heats up in my hand.
Yeah, that's what Reiki does that too.
Yeah, and it is. It's a form of energy healing. It's a form of Reiki. So I feel it. I feel the hot spot, and then that's where I start working at, and that's when they feel better. So it literally is a medical intuitive. But she was good. She was really good.
I
Yeah,
always
she
find them so
too.
interesting.
So
You
tell
have
us, what do you know, Shishi, about black-eyed children?
Okay, I'll be the first one to admit they freaked me out. They freak me out. I have not had the pleasure and don't want the pleasure of running into them. What I do know is that no one really knows where they come from. There's
Mm-hmm.
so many different ways about where they come from and who they are. But what is consistent is they are harbingers of bad news or doom. They either bring death or illness.
Mm-hmm. Is that why they're?
And they usually, from what I understand, tend to. I'm sorry?
Is that why they try to get into your house?
They can't come in unless you invite them.
Right.
And so I know they also have the ability to mess up electricity and frequencies. That I also know. So I've heard people having issues when they've knocked on the door with like TVs going awry or phones not working properly or electricity just blinking in and out. So no one really knows where they started from, and they don't really know what they are. And the more you dig into it, the deeper you go, then of course all these other legends and everything come up, and then it just kind of gets like you go down the rabbit hole and it's hard to get back out once you start going.
Right. Right.
But that's what I do know. I
Mhm.
just think I tried not to think about them, which is just,
Block them
I don't
off.
know. I don't know why they have all things. Yeah, why they have all things freak me out the most. But I think, anytime it comes to scary children, I kind of try to block it off. But you know, that's usually why they come in that form, because they're unsuspecting, very unsuspecting.
Hmm.
Well, it's
Let me
it's
see.
interesting because I'm the type of person, if there's a noise or something, like I can understand him. I don't understand him getting out of his car in the woods because that's a completely different thing. But if I hear something inside of my house, I can't hide. I can't stay in my bed. I can't put my head under the covers. I have to either grab the machete, a pillow, a broom, and I got to go looking for you. Because
It's
I feel like I can't just wait for you to come find me. I can never do that. I always have to be the one that if you coming into the house, I'm gonna try to beat your ass before you get me.
but
So
that's not how it works. Like they've come in the house and people haven't been able to get them.
they haven't. Oh, well, see, I'd be in there swinging that air then, because I swear to God, I'd be trying to beat a black eyed kid's ass. I would. I guess there's this thing of being afraid, and is that the better thing? Is that, yeah, Jed, don't come to my house in the middle of the night because I got machetes all over the fucking house.
Remember that time that we were talking about vampires and I spent the night? You slept on the couch for some reason that night, and I come in there in the middle of the night and I touched you.
And I was ready. I was like, I stayed ready. I stayed ready. She touched me and I did a kick first, and then I did the hands. Hey, I'm only an orange degree black belt, but no, that's what I call it, an orange degree black belt, but I'm only an orange belt. But in my mind, in the spiritual sense, I'm a black belt. I stay ready. I can't help it.
She's like, girl, you scared the shit out of me. We were talking, she was dreaming about vampires.
Yeah. Yes.
So we know we can't roll up on Tonya. If she's having a nightmare, we just have to let her ride out.
Girl, if something coming to kill me, I swear to God, I'm gonna fight to the end. I'm gonna fight to the death. I'm not gonna just lay there and let you bite me and suck all my blood. I might not want to be a vampire. You gonna work for this shit. That's what anything. You gonna work for this shit.
Why didn't they change us to a vampire when we were young and pretty?
Shoot.
Old and make us look like this.
No. You gonna catch these hands first. Then you're gonna have to explain to me why it's in my benefit to be a vampire.
See, look, Tonya. It would have been too much. They'd be like, you know what? Just forget it.
They would have went on and bit somebody else they would have went on and bit somebody else.
But I think the funny part is how you've thought all this through. How it's gonna really go.
You have to have a plan. Y'all don't go to sleep with a plan. I go to sleep. I got holy water. I got my protection. I got my machetes. I mean, I'm ready to do some spiritual warfare. And if you just rob in the house, well, I'm sorry. You go get fucked up too.
No, I think I had a plan. I had a plan after I watched. Hi, everybody. Hi, Angela. Hi, Jed. Hi, Donovan. I had a plan for, because I had finished watching the movie The Ring. I was like, so y'all going to stand there and watch that girl crawl out the TV? Because that would not be me. You got to chase me to drop my ass. I was like, gone. Throw the TV down, run. But no, I'd be prepared too. But no, there are some things that are freaking. I do have some friends that were like, Shishi, there's a really haunted spot with kids, and let's go test it out. I'm like, I don't fuck with that kids though. I just don't.
You know what? When you deal with deceased kids, because I had a massage client that was very gifted, and she went to Austin, her and her husband, for a romantic getaway, and they went to a cemetery, and she brought all this candy, and she laid it there for the kids. Every kid's grave she would put candy on. When they went back home, they had all these cabinets and doors opening and things falling all over the place because the kids loved her energy so much they followed her home. And that's why her and her husband ended up getting divorced, because he was like, I didn't sign up for this. She loved it. She loved the spiritual the activity and everything. And she would, ask them to come with her. And they did. The ones that wanted to leave, they followed her home. But kids can be very mischievous, especially with spirit.
Mm-hmm. But then I think what a lot of people forget, and I know we've talked about this before, not all children are children.
Right.
True.
And that's the part where you have to be careful with, because there's a lot of malevolent spirits that hide under the guise of a child.
Well, because it's easier to get somebody's their confidence if you're appearing as a 3-year-old innocent child that needs help versus, you know, a 56-year-old serial killer that wants to cause havoc. You know, spirits appear to us the way we see them. And for a lot of people, children or young adults are easier to it's easier to look at a manifestation like that.
So Rob just said, all my protection wards, red brick dust, casserole, salts, railroad spikes won't work against these damn little black-eyed fuckers. I'm not inviting them in. And they won't. There's nothing that has worked against them. I have been researching. There's nothing. You just can't invite them in.
Even that movie, Interview with the Vampire by Anne Rice,
Mm-hmm.
they turned a little girl into a vampire.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Like 9 years old or something.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but they turned her, you know, and that was the main scene in the movie where the other vampire was mad because he was like, "You turned her, and she's too young to defend herself." You know,
Yeah.
she wasn't an adult. But you have a lot of people that some entities because they want power.
Mm-hmm.
And it's easier for trickster spirits to do that. I've seen so many people in the community where it's like, I want to be more powerful. I want to be big. I want to be this. I want to be the head witch in charge. So I'm going to summon everything that I can. And unfortunately, a lot of these people end up getting fucked up because they don't know these energies.
Like that
Mhm.
Legba girl or whatever.
Oh, Angela, she wanted to bring them home with her. Those kids, she wanted them to follow her. That's why she took the candy to the cemetery to entice them to come back and follow her. Now, normally when I do go to the cemetery, I try to go to one where you have to cross over water.
Mm-hmm.
I try to, but I mean, you know, some people, it's they, like I said, they want that power or they want to live that lifestyle, you know.
Could you
Even
imagine all the death here on the island if it could get across that water? There's been
true.
a lot of death here. A lot of death.
Well, still with COVID within the last 2 years, you have a lot of wandering dead. You know, so it just depends.
I don't know. I think it's interesting how many people are, when they think about, you know, being in the occult or they think about being in a practice, they automatically think about all the power that comes with it.
Because that's what people want.
And
They come
But
in
then-
for the power. They don't come
but
in
then-
for, you know, what you're. It depends, though, I guess, of whether you're getting into a practice or if you're getting into a tradition. Because a tradition is more like a religion, and a practice is just basically the work. But I believe that without the tradition or religion, you don't really have the power for the work. I mean, it add. You know what I'm saying? That
like
your
it's a
gift,
step ladder of things.
whatever, would boost your work.
I think for some people, they don't care.
But no,
If you're power hungry, you're power hungry. It doesn't matter if this is a practice, a religion, or, you know, if you're going into it and you want the connection with spirit. A lot of people, when they ask me, how do I grow my gifts? My first question is, how do you want to use your gifts?
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people are like, I just want to be gifted because I want people to know that I'm gifted. Well, we're all gifted. We're all born gifted. But what do you want to use it for? Are you going to feed the hungry with it? Are you going to elevate you know, other people? Are you going to be a teacher? Are you going to be a healer? What are you going to use your gift for? So there's this thing of, I just want it. I want the power. I'm hungry for this because I want people to respect me. A lot of times in high school, the first thing that makes you even open up a book about spirituality is because you're being bullied or you're being you're feeling less than, and you're looking for power. The first time I opened up a witch book in the library, it was because some kids were calling me olive oil and I wanted to turn them all into frogs. I didn't care about a connection with spirit. I wanted them bitches to all be up there talking about ribbit, ribbit, ribbit. That's what I wanted. And that was the reason I opened up the book.
And look how much you use olive oil now.
Hey, I've evolved and matured, thank God.
You know, I think for me, you know, when I first stepped into the occult, like truly just accepted that that's what I wanted to do, I definitely did a curse. That was my first spell. It was definitely a curse. Then I realized
at first. Mm-hmm.
It was, but then like I realized when I was younger, I had done something and that was also a curse, and that was great. But I didn't say when I stepped into the occult, I want to exactly destroy people. I did say, you know, when I stepped into it, I wanted to be empowered, and I wanted to be self-aware, and I wanted to see things that could not be seen with just the mundane eyes. But I think people, when they step into the occult or any sort of religion, any sort of practice, and they're like, we just want power, that even before they conjure something, the forces that know that they're easy to manipulate step in. That's when you get caught up with tons of tricksters. That's when you get caught up with the spirits that are not in your best interest all the time.
True.
Because they're automatically attracted to the fact that you just are power hungry.
It's the emotion.
When you started off, you know, it is about the power, and you haven't even put up your protections. So you are more susceptible at that point too.
Exactly.
Well, I think people need to understand that spirits read our energy. They know our shortcomings, they know our weaknesses, and they entice us because they know what we want. Deep down inside, you two may not know what I really want, but spirit does. So they bring that in front of my face, and it's like, if you want to fuck these people up, Mambo, I can help you do that. I can bring you, but Jed put it out there. And what I've learned as a priestess, when you elevate, when spirit takes you to those next levels, there's a lot of responsibility that comes with that. There's a lot of sacrifices that come with that. And that actually balances out what you want. That keeps your ego in check. Because now I have more powerful spirits that tell me when I get out of line, they're going to bust my ass. They're gonna bust my ass. They don't care what I want. They're not gonna let me do something that is gonna hurt myself or go against what they want. So they will bust my ass, and you need that balance in checks when you're in any type of practice. You need it.
Well, I think, you know, not everybody has those spirits that want to keep them balanced. Not everybody has that.
True.
That group of spirits that
keeps them balanced.
That, you know, that maybe this isn't the right thing.
Or maybe
but you should always.
I think they do have the spirits and the ancestors are with people, but people just don't listen.
I agree.
They're not open to listening to that. They can go in and they can watch Charmed and summon all this different stuff and think they can cast spells and curses and all that stuff, but they're not listening to their ancestors.
I agree, because I think we're all born with a spiritual cord. And it doesn't matter if you're love and light or you're completely working in your shadow energy. There is a spiritual cord that connects with ancestry, and a lot of people that don't acknowledge or they don't choose to work with these spirits, you know, sometimes you can get off track. You really can. I've had it done. I've done it. I know a lot of people have done it.
I know a lot of people, well, and if we're saying they just don't listen to, you know, the other side of their court, so to say. I've read some witches, and it's like they literally just don't have that side to them. And I know that we've all read somebody where it's just like the energy is black and it's like a hole.
There's some fucking evil people out there that don't have any type of conscience. They don't have anything to balance that with. And I guess I shouldn't call them evil, but you have some people, like you say, that don't have that other side. They really don't.
I mean, and it's just very interesting to read them because it's like, it's a different kind of void. It's like, I know for some people when I'm reading them and they have that energy, it's kind of like you're just walking and falling down darkness.
Mm-hmm. Some of them,
And
I call it the EBGBs. You get the EBGBs, and it's just like, mm-mm. and it's a feeling because you're not picking up on any messages. You're not getting anything except for this EBGB feeling. I don't know how to explain it other than that, but I know what you're talking about.
I've
It's
seen it. Go ahead, Shishi.
it feels like, you know how that guy was in the sunken place on Get Out?
Mm-hmm.
That's how it feels for me when I read those people. I'm like, because there's like nothing.
Yeah.
I feel like what I've seen, it normally happens with people that have very extreme trauma, where they have closed off their emotions or they have closed off their connections. Because the connections are there, they choose not to even acknowledge it. We've had friends that have gone through some really bad breakups that are very dark workers, and they'll say, well, that's going to push me to be darker because now I'm going to shut down my heart. I'm not going to connect with people anymore, and this is what I'm going to be. You have every right. If that's what you want to do, if you want to work solely in your shadow, you have every right to do it. But like somebody was saying, what is the consequences? I saw a post in a group this week where this person was like, my family fucking irritates me. I hate them all. I want to curse them. And you go back and you're telling this person, you're going to curse your blood. Mm-hmm. If you have children, if your children have grandchildren, you're cursing your bloodline. So it doesn't matter. So you got mad at your mama because your mama won't let you borrow some money or she won't help you pay your rent. So you're going to curse your whole fucking bloodline? So at some point, it's like, what are the consequences? What do you, as a worker, as a person who's getting into this, you have to research the shit that you do before you fuck your whole self up.
Yeah, because aren't you a part of your mama's own blood?
Oh, yeah, you're cursing your bloodline. So your children, their children. And then we talk about generational curses, where people think these other people are throwing this at them. Some of these people fucked up their own bloodline.
And I believe just by making that statement, I hate my whole fucking family. I hope, I hope they die or I want to curse them. That in itself is a curse.
Well, we already know that. You're speaking it into existence. So we got to be honest. We've all gone through some things that have been traumatic that maybe needed to be worked through. But there are a lot of people that love their anger because their anger fuels their passion, which fuels their practice.
Some people can only work in their anger.
True.
Because that's their most powerful energy. To sometimes work in love or to work in calmness doesn't give that same oomph to whatever they're trying to do.
Right, that passion.
Mm-hmm. We have a question. It says, what are the consequences for putting curses on people? And are there people who unintentionally don't know their power who wield and hurt people and aren't aware? Yes, there are people who don't know their power and they do hurt people and they're not aware until it actually comes into existence. The consequences for putting on curses, that all depends on who you ask. Now, in my opinion, if you're just cursing someone for fun and it's not really justified, that energy, because I believe everybody, like Tonya said, has their own spiritual cord or people or ancestors that protect them, that energy doesn't always hit. And so where does that energy have to go? It goes back to you. So I always say, no matter what spell, whether it be to hex, to heal, to curse, whatever, always make sure it's justified in the energy that you're putting out there. Some people, when you throw a curse at them, they're able to transmute that energy so nothing happens. It all depends on who you're throwing at and your belief, in my opinion.
Yeah, and two, they could reverse it.
They can reverse it.
Yeah. I think the whole thing about it is, like she said, it's completely up to you the way that you want to do your work. But I think if you decide to curse somebody, you got to own up to your shit and be accountable for what you do and accountable for what may come back on you and your kids. If you're cool with that, and there's a lot of people out there that are, they don't give a shit. They're like, I'm gonna do it, and if it comes back, I'll deal with it when it comes back. Then you go on with your bad self. Do what you got to do. I mean, because at the end of the day, you can tell somebody all day long, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. But if it's really what you want to do, most of the time, you're gonna do it.
Exactly. Then we have Chantrell. I think maybe it's a comment. I remember when I got into this life, I read a lot of books. Curses made me think otherwise because I don't want the karma. Spirit and my ancestors forced me to work on self first. I'm still leery of cursing and hexing folks. I just let them hang themselves. Now, some people go by the rule of 3. Whatever you throw at you comes back 3 times. I don't believe in that rule. Personally, me, like I said, I believe in like the energy, if it's not justified, can come back to you. But I also believe that if you're willing to take whatever responsibility comes with it, then also do it. But you, like Tonya said, have to be willing to take whatever the damage is when it comes back your way.
Yeah.
So
you have to realize as a practitioner, even if you are a baby coming into this, that you have a certain accountability for the magic that you do, whether this is helping somebody out, doing love work, interceding for people. A lot of people get up here and they do work with no divination. So you don't know what you're supposed to be. Before I do anything, I go to my spirits and I say, am I right in this? Or am I just fucked up with emotion that I'm not seeing it right? And a lot of times they'll be like, sit back, we got this. Or don't do this, this is not your place. Or, this is for this other person to work out. So when they tell me things, I listen as a worker. I'm not going to just go out there and start throwing my energy into everything, because there's this thing of staying in your lane. There's certain things that you don't deal with because you're not supposed to be there. There's certain entities that will come back on you because you're not strong enough to deal with them. If you're dealing with somebody, like I have people up there that are like, oh, my friend was cursed and I went in there and smudged her house and smoked a little weed with her and then put her in this rose petal bathtub, y'all gonna get fucked up.
I think too, as a worker, you have to do divination. You have
to. How do you know what to do if you don't do divination?
Well, and not only that, but let's say, for instance, and I'm just pulling this out of thin air, nobody's said this, okay? Somebody says, I need to get my ex back. I want him to come back to me. Can you help bind him to me? Okay, well, what she's not saying, or he's not saying, could be either, is that they dated in high school. She hadn't seen him in 15 years. Since then, he's married, got 3 kids. So why do you want to help bust up a marriage and a family to bring him back to her? She didn't even see him in 15 years. So you really, what my point is, spirit will tell you things that the client may not.
People lie. We all lie. We got to be honest with it. If you ask me on my scale, how much do I weigh? I'm going to tell you I weigh 180. And that's my story, and I'm going to stick to it. It's a lie. It's a lie. We all lie. So I think...
Well, if I say I weigh 160, that's a lie too, right?
Well, I don't, your lie is your lie. I'm sticking to my lie. But I mean, the thing about it is that a lot of times we have a hard time being honest with ourselves when it comes to our work. You got to be really careful that, a lot of people are like, people are throwing at me, people are throwing at me, people are throwing at me. When you put yourself in the public's eye, you're going to get a lot of negative energy. You're going to get like Mary on here, my beloved, I'm drawn to you. You're going to get all these people that come out with this energy that want to be attached to your energy. You have every right to protect yourself against negative energy. You have to figure out when, like Elisa is saying, when more of a proactive energy needs to be put back out there. Like if you're constantly reversing somebody and you're smacking them, stop what you're doing. Stop what you're doing. And then you get to number 12 and you're like, look, fuck bitch, I'm fixing to fuck your life up because I have slapped your ass and given you 12 warnings. Now I got to do something more. That's where you get all these people that are burying people in the goddamn fucking graveyards and shit because they're getting irritated and they're done. They're tired. But you still have an accountability for that work. If spirit is feeling that it's not warranted, then you got to deal with that. You sign that contract with spirit when you work with it.
Right?
At the end of the day, that's you. That's between you and spirit, nobody else.
A lot of times, as for me personally, I don't need to put somebody in the graveyard because my ancestors and my spirits are going to take care of them for me.
Oh, true. Me
you
too.
You don't need to do work a lot of times. But that depends too. That's why you need to build your relationship with your spirits.
True. Well, there have been a few people that have put me in the graveyard that don't have shit now. They don't have it. Because they weren't warranted. Whatever they were trying to do to me, and I got the screenshots and all that bullshit. Now these people have lost their businesses and they lost their marriages. I didn't do shit. I didn't even go to my spirits on it. All I did was ask for protection from my ancestors. Their spirits took away things from them. So you got to figure out where your balance is. You really do.
I agree with Alyssa. I just wanted to kind of echo that comment that you also said about hers. She said sometimes a hex or a curse is a form of defense or protection. And she's right. Just like what you said, you're reversing it. And then eventually you get tired of paying for all that reversal stuff, and making all that reversal stuff because it seems like the person doesn't want to go away. You are held accountable still, no matter what you do. But my thing is, sometimes you just got to suck the life out of people.
Sometimes I said sometimes enough is enough, and you just have it.
And sometimes you just have to suck the life out of people. And I think what a lot of people do is they get mixed up. They look at these people and they're like, oh, you look weak or you look innocent. You don't look like you'll be able to do anything to me. But you don't know who they have backing them, both in the spiritual realm, but also in the mundane realm.
Right.
Some people, when they come for you, they don't come by themselves. They come either with a coven or they come with their tribe. And you don't know who's in those people's tribe.
Yeah.
So,
Unfortunately, we live in a day and age where a whole coven will target you. If the high priestess says that you're the target, the whole coven goes after whatever the target is. And that's a spiritual house too. If you fuck with any of my sisters and they tell me that, then I'm on my sister's side. But I am going to divine for me personally, because I have to be okay. If I give you cancer, if you die in a car accident, if you die in childbirth because of some work that I did, I'm the one that has to live with that. I'm the one that has to deal with that. So you have to make sure that when you start doing work that is doing someone in, that you 100% can sleep at night with what you did. Is it warranted? Are you right? Does it make you feel better? It's up to you.
I think there's only been one time where I felt bad for something that I did, but there's very few times that I do because I wait and I wait. And but at the same time, I think once again it goes to, if you're going to do it, then be comfortable with doing it. Don't be scared of doing it.
Right.
Because what a lot of people don't tell you about curses, if you go to curse somebody and you're scared, then you already messed up. And that curse may be getting you because you already messed it up. So you have to be sound in what you're doing. And you're right, you should divine, but there's some people who are like, you know what, forget this divination. I don't want to hear what anyone says. And I'm
you gotta do it. You got to do it. Here's the thing with that. When you start spiritual warfare with someone and you have children and you have animals, you're not just going to be the target. It comes back. No matter, you could be very protective. I'm very protected, and they have hit my kids because I dropped the ball. So then I have to go back in and make sure that my kids are as protective. Then you got to go back in and make sure that your animals are protected. When you go into a spiritual warfare with someone, it's not just you. People start targeting your whole family because you got people out there that don't give a shit if you have 5 kids. They'll try to make every single one of them sick.
Yeah,
It's one of the,
Hey, Lynna,
collateral damage.
it's collateral damage. But when you go into spiritual warfare and you have something to lose, it makes you think a little bit more before you're out willy-nilly throwing curses.
hey, Lynna, will you put that question back up? The one about in y'all's opinion, if someone's having a hex and curse people left and right, isn't that a reflection of self? I have to ask people sometimes why they surround themselves with people who have to curse or hex. Let me tell you, sometimes you don't have to do anything to anyone for them to curse or hex you. There are many times where people who are consistently being thrown at stay in their own lanes and don't do anything to anyone. Sometimes they're doing it just on the basis of gossip, jealousy, or the possibility that you have potential of being bigger than them. So it is not a reflection of self all the time.
Well, I think she's asking if let's say there is a person out there who feels like they have to throw curses and put hexes on people and surround themselves with other people who do the same thing, is that a reflection of their self? I would say that they're trying it's when, in my personal opinion, if somebody feels like they are constantly having to hex and curse people and they want to be like a little badass or whatever, that yeah, they're trying to prove something to not only everybody else but to themselves, because most of the time they're not shit.
Well, I think you have some people that the only thing that they can do is curse. They don't know any other work. So they come from a place of either trauma or anger, or this is just who they are. We got to be honest with it. There's some people out there that just like working in the shadow. This is what they do. They don't want love and light. They don't want to do money work. They don't want to do love work. They want to curse people.
But that is a reflection of who they are.
It could be. I mean, you got it on two ways, though. If you have somebody that only likes to do love and light work, does that speak to their character? Some people don't like conflict, so yeah, maybe they want to blow. And I'm not saying love and light work is anything like light work, because there's a lot of power that comes out of that. I've seen people be changed. I've seen countries be changed because of love and light work. But I do feel if you have somebody that is dealing with an anger that they feel that they constantly have to keep attacking someone, definitely that speaks on character. There's something that happened. There's something that's wrong. If I wake up every day thinking that I got to fuck over you or fuck over half the people on my timeline. Now, going back to Shishi's point, anytime you put yourself on social media, especially right now because witches are this fad, everybody is a witch. Anytime you put yourself on social media, you put a bullseye on your chest, because people are looking at you. If you're very vocal on social media, you get more attention. If you're doing good for the community and people are elevating your name, you get more attention, because you're going to have people that don't want to see you grow. They're going to target you. And some people just want to know, can they hit you? Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people that practice. They just want to know, can I fuck her up? Can I make her skin break out? Can I make her hair fall out? Can I make her teeth or his teeth fall out? Can I make his dick go limp? There's some people out there that are just practicing because you're in the limelight. You're there. So unfortunately, yeah, you have some people that are going to target you because you're in a position where you're being seen. And people pull cards. If you have success showing in your cards and they don't want it for you, they fuck you up, or they try to fuck with your money. So, I mean, this is 2021. We live in a society where, people use whatever edge they can sometimes to get ahead. And if it's a magical edge, you're going to have some people that use it and not give a care about how it affects you or your family. Let's see. And like Alice was saying, sometimes in these groups, you can answer a question wrong and have the whole fucking group throwing at you.
Oh, yeah. Because things get misconstrued.
Yeah. You can have a disagreement with somebody and have, 8, 9 people downloading your picture off of Facebook to fuck you up.
Mm-hmm. And that's just really petty. That to me is really petty. But, that's why for the most part, I stopped commenting in groups because there's someone who always wants to instigate something.
Well, I think if you present yourself as anybody with some type of knowledge, you become a threat to a lot of people. Because a lot of people don't, like you said, don't want to see you progress. They don't. I grew up in a really different time because I'm older. You know, when an elder was presented and we didn't have all this social media or whatever, you actually had to drive to somebody's house and sit on their porch or do some work with them to learn knowledge. You know, some of the old workers, you will never see them on social media because that's not the way that they teach. That's not what they do. So it's so alien to me now that when we have this media, a medium that we can share knowledge and make it more widespread, that instead of having a lot of people that absorb it and are happy to be able to get it, they're throwing up obstacles because they don't want to see you progress. They don't want to see you share the knowledge. So a lot of times it really speaks on character.
Mm-hmm.
No, at the end of the day, that's all we have is our character.
Right. We're not doing readings today, people.
And like Elisa is saying too, sometimes people try to give people the benefit of the doubt to change, you know. But every time, if y'all look at the monthly readings, I tell people all the time, pay attention to your circle. Pay attention who claps for you when you have something successful coming on. Pay attention to how they move around you because you'll see people for who they really are. A lot of people don't want to see it. But you can't tell who's for you and who's against you. Even if they damn good at faking it, you can tell.
I think it's, I think it's human nature, right? For many people to not want to see people get ahead of them or just to be naturally competitive. But I have noticed for me, observing the spiritual world, it's been a little too tense, a little too competitive, a little too cliquish, I guess is the way to say it. And it seems as though instead of wanting to see everybody grow and come into their natural gifts and just be themselves, everybody's so busy trying to tell people what they can't be, but also just trying to stop them in their tracks. And so what I've noticed as far as, like looking at the comments and things, when people are being thrown at, they're being thrown at a lot of people just hearsay and gossip and assumption. And personally, I find that very sad. But that's just been my observation as of late.
Yeah.
And it's like hard because you want to learn from people, but a lot of the people who are teaching on social media, sometimes they want to only teach you enough to not surpass them, if that makes sense.
It does. And that happens in person too. So you have to be careful not online, but also in person with the people that you go to for a mentor.
Yeah, I think honestly, when you deal with social media teaching, a lot of times people have a responsibility that they don't want to put everything out there because you're going to have some people that misuse it, and you may not want that responsibility when you're teaching to the masses. Now, when you are mentoring someone one-on-one, the whole point of that is to pass down knowledge so that when you are no longer here, that person can carry it on. But we do get, I will say, when you take a class with me, I'm going to give you 100% of what I want to share with you that I feel is going to be beneficial to you. But there may be some things that I don't always include that would be detrimental if it was used the wrong way. And I don't have time in 2 hours to break all that down. So that would be a one-on-one. But you got to be, I mean, you got to be really careful. We got a lot of fake teachers out there that the knowledge is cut and paste. They haven't really done the work. They don't know if the work works. They've taken a class from somebody else and all they did was just basically change the name on the syllabus or whatever and reteach the class. It just depends when it comes to knowledge. You have to use discernment with that.
Speaking of classes, it's Sunday. Y'all need to feed your poppets.
Oh, that's true. That is so true. Mary, well, you know what? I ain't even gonna get on Mary. Mary trying to get some readings on here.
I'll take care of her. Bye, Mary. Have a good day.
Yeah, we ain't even gonna worry about Mary. Mary with her beloved. Bye, beloved.
Okay. So I ran into this situation, and I think like the person was shocked, but so they came in and they said, this person wants to teach me. And they said, we're going to be learning about all the goddesses. Can you divine on me if this person should be my teacher? Have you guys run into the situation where it was a male trying to teach about the goddesses, but the male was a womanizer?
I mean, unfortunately, you got a ton of teachers out there that are not qualified and they have their own demons. So yeah.
So I think the person, I felt kind of bad making a statement of, you can't, well, I guess I don't know. When pulling for the reading, I stated, I was like, this person is a womanizer, takes advantage of women naturally. If you're trying to learn about the goddesses, and I'm not talking about I'm talking about like the dark goddesses,
Mm-hmm.
You might want to rethink learning it from this individual, because looking into it, because I work with some of the dark goddesses, and from my experience, the dark goddesses, especially if they're those for empowering and elevating women, are not going to be okay with a womanizer teaching women who are supposed to be elevated about them.
Absolutely.
And so when I explained that to this individual,
for women, how are they going to have a respect for a goddess?
Exactly.
But you have a lot of you have a lot of male womanizers that do work with the goddesses. My thing is, as a spiritual community, we do have a responsibility to protect people, and I'm very protective of my people on my page when I see bullshit come on there, because that's my responsibility. If they get hurt, I take that personally. We have a ton of men and women that use platforms for sexual gratification. A lot of these people are following these people, they're joining their groups, their organizations, and they know that this person is fucking everybody under the rock and then dropping them. Mm-hmm. And a lot of us know these people, and it's hard because I personally have talked to a few of these men and said, look, you're better than this. You need to be better than this. But they continue to kind of put themselves out there because their goal is to use their platform to get pussy. That's what the goal is. But what can you do? You have women that gravitate towards men like this because they see power. They want spiritual sperm. Now you got women that are taking advantage of this. I get dick pics in my inbox because everybody wants to fuck the Mambo. And I'm like, what the hell is this? This has nothing to do. You don't even know me, but because I have Mambo in front of my name, they want to fuck them up. It's like some rite of passage. So if I wanted to take advantage of that, I could be doing that, but that speaks a lot about my character. So for these men that do that, absolutely. But we got to ask ourselves, why do women keep flocking to that energy? Because a lot of these women know these men are good.
Power. It all goes back to power.
Yeah.
There was another question. What was it? I'm talking to myself. Y'all go ahead.
So I agree with you, Shishi. I think you have to, when you're in a position like that, you have to say something about it. If somebody was to come to me and ask me about a person, I try to be as honest as I possibly can. Because in the community, you make enemies really, really quick. When you out people, all of a sudden you have a huge target on your back because now this person is coming after you, and then their people are coming after you, and it's because you spoke up, you told the truth. But I've seen so many women abused, and I've seen so many women walk around here with these spiritual babies, raising them by themselves because these guys got what they wanted and they moved on. And then you see them every week, looking for new victims, up there profiling on their things and stuff. And it's sickening. It really is. But as women, we also have to be accountable for our actions. If you're particularly pursuing somebody with the idea that this person has some type of status or whatever, it's a spiritual grouping. We got to call it what it is.
I
But I
think
got to tell you,
is right when she says they're missing something in themselves when they're
yeah,
they're they think they're going to get a piece of the power. Do you really want
well,
that kind of power? As
I'm
somebody
sorry.
that you just using people? I mean, do
I
you?
have I have been on this planet 53 years and I have partaked in my share of sperm, and I have yet to find a sperm that has elevated me or did something to my third eye that made me levitate. Almost, almost levitated, but I
Well,
didn't quite get as high as I thought I was going to get. But he wasn't even spiritual. So what
but
even spiritual
and
sperm?
that elevation got to last more than 2 minutes. Come
It
on,
has to last more than 2 minutes. So, I mean, what the fuck? What are you getting out of the situation other than,
a
you
baby
know,
that you got to feed by yourself.
yeah,
And it's like, it ends up being like this cult following.
it is a
Because
cult.
I think the disappointing part is when there are women that speak out against, the fuckery,
Well, because
then they're attacked.
you're gonna be attacked.
But the
100% you're gonna
disappointing
be
part is
attacked.
they're attacked by the other women that are going through the same thing.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
because the victims, you have victims that are fighting over somebody that they know is not worth it, but they have to, because at that point they've already put themselves in that position.
They're
You
trying to
know,
justify their own actions.
yeah. I mean, it's hard because I think a lot of people look at people as spiritual as holier than thou, and we're human.
Mhm.
Because you see somebody online and they're teaching or they're telling you something, you're human. It literally, like Trina's saying, nothing but a nut. That's what it is. I don't give a shit if you tantric sex, if you putting candles up there, if you putting love oil and rubbing all on somebody's dick and citing psalms or whatever. The fuck of it is that you're gonna get the nut. Hopefully you're manifesting when you get the nut, but at the end of the day, for that guy, once he skeets, it's over. He's on to the next groupie. And women do it too. I mean, we can't just put it on men. Women definitely take advantage of weaker males and women, females. I've seen women actually bring women in for men to be abused. So we do have some accountability. If you want to give up ass, then yeah, that's on you. But don't give up ass thinking that this person is fixing to give you the sun, moon, and the stars. I haven't
Right?
seen it. I haven't seen it. I see a lot of women walking around with hurt feelings and STDs and babies that they're raising by themselves
With no child support.
with no child support because the spiritual man don't even claim on his taxes. He only pay his taxes. So y'all be careful. Y'all know I always preach about it. I always do. Because I've heard I get so many women that come and get readings from me where they're like, "Oh, he gave me some good head and then he showed me how to work with Hecate." How? Who? What?
Well, what's
And it's
Hecate
just,
got to do with giving
it's
head?
really funny to me because I personally love Hecate.
Mm-hmm.
Love Hecate. And I always tell women, I'm like, yes, Hecate has worked with some men, but rarely does she work with men. She's the maiden, mother, and crone. She's the embodiment of all the women, the stages of the woman. And so when they're like, no, this man is going to teach me about Hecate. And he said he is fully connected. I'm like, you need to make sure you do your research because you might be jacked up. Because, I mean, she's the goddess of witches and she's the goddess of the crossroads. Embodiment, like I said, of all the women's stages.
Mm-hmm.
And so often I'm like, not very many men would understand all about the embodiment of the women's stages.
Right. And
So
Jen
what
even
can they,
says she defends abused women too.
exactly. And she defends the mothers. So if you are going to try to learn about Hecate under a womanizer, you need to really think about that. And so that's when it came in. I was like, she's not going to let a womanizer teach you about you.
Well, that brings me into the next question, because if we are talking about, because there are deities out there that will not, they don't co-sign abuse of women or abuse of people, period. Mm-hmm. So would these men then be held accountable by these gods or goddesses? I mean,
yes, they are. Hecate, I know for sure, will hold you accountable. And so I've had the wonderful pleasure of someone actually trying to dominate me with Hecate. But I'm like, but I'm a follower of Hecate. How are you going to dominate me with my goddess? How are you going to dominate me with the woman that protects other women, or the goddess that protects women? They are held accountable. The thing about her is, and what I appreciate about her is when she hits thoroughly. Mm-hmm. She's dead on. So it could be that your money is gone. It could be you have spirits haunting you. It could be that you may not be able to make any other babies. It could be so many different things, but she hits true. So when she gets you, she gets you. So, and that was, I think, was very interesting when I was doing the reading. I explained, I was like, this man can't teach you about Hecate. He's not a true follower of her.
Did she decide to stick with him?
Not sure yet. Not sure.
I think a lot of women see these people for who they really are, but I think there is that curiosity or that mystery of wanting to be with somebody that has some connection to spirit, or they think that this person has some connection to spirit. So it's interesting because I feel like sometimes we have to learn from our own mistakes. And it's unfortunate because I as a woman, period, I hate to see anybody be abused or taken advantage of. Because I think it says a lot about a person's character that they would even put somebody in that position to cross that line, especially a womanizer. But you guys, just be safe. Be safe. If you want to have a sexual relationship with a person, you're adult. You're 100% an adult. But please do not go in treating these men and women like they are gods or goddesses. They're human. They pay their bills. They shit on the toilet just like you. They make mistakes. Don't elevate people that have not shown you anything positive about that themselves.
I think my advice to people is, if you have a teacher, let that person be your teacher, but don't cross that line to something more.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, once that line is crossed, then you get into muddy waters. And you would have, it just gets muddy. So that's just my advice.
If you go to a Catholic church, let's say, you wouldn't sleep with the priest. So why would you sleep with someone who don't even, have the title?
You do have some women that do sleep with the priest. You have some men that sleep with the priest, but it's not acceptable.
Exactly. Right, which is why it's kept secret.
Right, but a lot of times in these communities too, you'll have 5 or 6 women sleeping with the same man, but it's not public knowledge because he's not telling all these other women that he's having sex with them.
And usually when the teacher's having sex with, if the teacher's having sex with you, they're having sex with someone else.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's definitely not a one-person thing. Alyssa, this popcorn is everything. It has 4 cheese on it and pepper. I'm addicted to this popcorn.
Yeah, it does. You ain't stopped.
It is so good. It's so incredible. It's, blame Oliver, because he's like, I was like, no, I'm not going to have popcorn. He's like, so you can't snack? And I was like, okay, maybe a little snack. And I'm like, this darn popcorn.
Nope, you're good. You're good.
He
So
seasoned it. Oh, good.
well, at least he's taking good care of you. I gotta give it. If he can put a little seasoning on it, then he's a good guy.
Yeah, he's good with that part. But no. So I mean, I think right now is like a lot of people are coming out as teachers. I teach. You guys all teach as well. But I feel there's just people coming out as teachers who just stepped into the spiritual realm, playing with spirits that they themselves are not even attuned to. So it's about to be a whole lot of fun, needless to say,
Well, I
this year.
think anytime that you find a niche where you can make money, you're gonna have a lot of fuckery that follows. But it kind of comes down to at the real recognizes real. Period. I think no matter who you are, your discernment will tell you who you need to connect with and who you need to avoid. And if you choose not to see something, then that's on you. I mean, we're adults, you know. Have I always been in the best positions or put myself in the best positions? No, because I'm human and I make, dumb mistakes. But when I find a place that I can correct it and move forward, especially when it goes towards a spiritual journey or a growth, if you have a goal that you're moving towards, a dick is nowhere in there for me with my spiritual journey. It's not.
One of the things that we talked about earlier was when we're doing work, we need to divine on that work. Why not divine on a teacher? Pray about it. Talk to the ancestors. Read the cards.
Right.
Whatever the case may be. You don't necessarily have to be able to read cards. You can pray. You can talk to your ancestors. All you got to do is listen. But do divine on it, whether it be by prayer, by the cards, by shells, bones, whatever.
100%. And Alyssa's saying people mentoring hoodoo who aren't initiated or teaching it properly. Technically, I don't think you need to be initiated into hoodoo.
No, not the hoodoo. No.
But you do have some people that do have initiations, and that's a private thing. That could be somebody's private practice and initiating into it. But I do agree that if you are initiating and taking money to bring people into your organization, you absolutely have to teach it properly. You have to teach it properly, because if not, then you're doing a disservice to people. We got people out there. Shishi was telling me somebody that was charging over $10,000 for a class. And I'm like, what the fuck? What are they teaching? Who is this? And I
No,
still don't understand it.
It was their mentorship, and I think it's now close to, I think it's close to 24,000 for the mentorship.
You pay for what you want. You do. And I'm not going to discount it. If you feel like that education is worth 20 something thousand, then you pay for it. I have spent 10,000 initiating. Really more than that when you think about supplies and knowledge and everything like that, because it was something that was on my path that was 100% personal to me, that was worth it. So I think that you have to figure out what's important to you and how you get there.
Right, and what it's worth to you.
Yeah, and what it's worth to you.
I'm not going to pay $24,000 for a class. That's me.
I mean, my thing is,
May. But what is it worth to you? My kids are priceless to me. Somebody else can sell them across the border for $100. What is it worth to you? I'm just being real. I live by the border. They can come and take them. They can sell them across the ocean. I'd never know. But
like you say, what is it worth to you?
well, my thing is, I think if you're going to pay that much for something, you should know what you're getting. I'm sure when you stepped into the path of being initiated, they told you this is what you're paying for, this is what it is. With that mentorship, it doesn't explain what you get with it.
Oh, we'll see now.
When you divine on it, or pray about it, or ask your ancestors about it, or whatever you got to do.
Even then, I still want to know what I'm paying for and what do I get out of it.
Yeah, that's a lot. It's a lot. But like you say, you, at the end of the day, it's discernment. Does it feel right to you? Do you feel like what you're, like Lynna said, do you feel like what you're paying for is worth it? Um, initiation is a major commitment to something. And you don't want to initiate or pay something that you literally can find online or get somewhere down the street. And like you say, if you don't know this, you might get in there and feel like an asshole after you don't spend $20,000 for something that, you can get anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. You just got to use discernment and you got to research.
Well, I think, I don't know. I cannot, like, I see a lot of things being worth it, but if you can't break down what I'm paying $24,000 for, I'm not about it.
Well, you think about it. If you go to buy a house, that's a big ticket item. You get that bitch inspected first. So why are you inspecting the teachers?
Exactly.
Because if the inspector says that this house they're charging you $996,000 for is only worth $55,000,
right? Jed,
inspect your teachers. Do divination, divine on it. Pray about it.
Jed is right. It's a red flag when you're investing in something and you don't know what you're getting out of it. You have no idea, where's the path going? Where is it going to take you? Is it something that you even want to do? And for that amount of money, I'm like you, I don't think anybody would make an investment like that unless they 100% knew what they were getting out of the investment. Mm-hmm. Initiations are,
they very much are an investment because you're investing in yourself. Aren't you worth an investment?
Exactly. It's a sacred right when you say that you are initiating into something, because literally you're going into it as a baby. Initiation is the beginning. So if you are going into something, and a lot of people use that to put a big price tag on it, because literally you're starting over in a tradition where you're learning new things. But there should be some type of guideline on where you're going and the goal. I would initiate into something that at the end of it, I might be an elf, or I might be something that I don't want to be. So you have to have some type of guideline on where you're going.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
But it's interesting because I think right now the community or the spiritual movement is $1 billion business right now. And it's because we're building brands. We're trying to get ourselves out there. And I think a lot of people are real, and some of them are, like with any other compartment in society, are taking advantage of a movement that they can make money off of. You can't blame people for hustling. You can't. But we also have to be accountable for what we put our money and our time and our energy into. Because at the end of the day, you're going to be the one that's out of the money. And these people are going to have 15, 20 other people that are still paying. So I would definitely say, like Lynna said, research, especially when it comes to initiations and things that are big ticket investments. This is a lifetime commitment to an organization or a group if it's done right. Mm-hmm. I've seen some people initiate into things and then, a month later, the whole damn society is disbanded. And so you paid all this money and you got nothing. So you got to be careful. You 100% have to be careful. It's a big step. And you got to do it with the right person. Trust me, you got to do it with the right person.
You do. You really do.
All right, guys. So what do you want? Let me look real fast. Who do we have next week? We have. Looks like we have. Y'all want to talk about the fairies next week?
Let's talk about the fairies.
Because we're open unless somebody wants to guest. If y'all know of somebody that wants to guest, tell them to hit us know.
If not, then I'm good with talking about fairies.
Me too.
I love the fairies.
Yeah, you two know a lot more about the fairies than I do, so it'll be interesting. It will be. I'm all open to learning something new.
I think that will be fun.
You be here, right?
Yeah, I will.
No, I mean here.
Oh, you know what? I don't know.
Maybe the week after.
It may be the week after, but I don't know.
Okay.
Let me look at my schedule. But either way, I'll be here.
All right. So, y'all want to go ahead and close out? Anybody want to say anything?
Yeah, I mean, thank you guys. You brought a lot of good energy to this chat. There was a lot of great questions. There was a lot of great knowledge that was shared. Because we learned from you guys too. So thank you so much for kind of coming through and keeping us on our toes. I can't wait till next week. I think next week is going to be really, really interesting.
Thank you guys for coming. Sorry I was late. My time has not yet changed for me. It is normal time, so I'll have to keep that in mind. You guys might have to remind me next week because I think we changed, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's a week or two that we're behind before we do the changing of the time. I'll find
Yeah,
that out.
we'll make sure we'll remind you.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. And guys, thanks for, popping in and talking with us and chatting with us. I love chatting with you guys and seeing the comments. So thank you for supporting us. I greatly appreciate it.
Yes, thank you so much. All right.
All right, my loves.
To see you guys.
Have a good night.
Love you.
Bye.